Hello and welcome to the Cloud Council. I'm Don Polaniki, and today I'm delighted to be bringing you a special episode of the Cloud Council where we're going to be focusing on leadership. And who better to talk about leadership than Sir Clive Woodward? So, Clive, drawing on your experience in business and sport, as you have been through this discussion, how do you apply your winning philosophies to thrive in this time of uncertainty and doubt? And how are you personally applying that to your own businesses at Hive Learning, which you touched on, and Ep8 2100?
Yeah, I think what's going on at the moment is a great example of how teams can really come together and how good your actual culture is. And again, I have a term I call teamship, which again, I've used this as long as I can remember. And teamship kind of works, especially when you're in tight corners like we're in at the moment. And what teamship is basically this. It's a style of leadership, and it's certainly my style of leadership, and it demonstrates what I call a winning culture. So what teamship is this? If I use the rugby team again, if anyone came up with a new thought, a new idea, what I'd want is the team to discuss it first, literally without me in the room, without being too kind of dramatic. I would kind of leave the room and say, right, you guys discuss this. I want to know your views first, then you're going to hear my views. And obviously, some of the ideas can come from you, some can come from the team, but you want the team to discuss it first. And quite simply, if the team get to 100% agreement on a subject, and then they present to you, the leader of the team, and you agree as well, it becomes what we call a teamship rule. Be very, very clear, you're not giving away any authority as a leader, because if you don't like what they come up with, even if it's 100%, you can still back it back and go, no, I don't agree with that. I want to rediscuss this. So you're not giving any authority. So let me give you an idea. I've already mentioned time. Let's use time as an example. I've already said my importance of time. When I first took over the rugby team all those years ago, I set the scene and said, look, I don't want to be every meeting going, be on time, guys, don't be late. I want you to discuss time. I made a presentation about time, what it meant, what it represented, how important it was, etc., etc. But I said, I'm going to leave the room. I want you to discuss it. I want you to hear your views. Remember, we're trying to be the best team in the world, absolutely the number one team in the world. So we need to have standards than any other team, any business, which we eventually did. So I'd leave the room, and I remember coming back, half an hour later, and Martin Johns came up to me with a bit of paper and said, here's our definition of time. And the definition he showed me was 10 minutes early. So he said, our definition of time is going to be 10 minutes early. If you call a meeting to start at 4 o'clock today, for example, we'll be in the room ready to go at 10 to 4. So you as the leader of the team, are you going to agree with that? Of course. Wow. Job done. And we then kind of brand it or market it. We then called it Lombardi time. Lombardi is a very famous American football coach called Vince Lombardi. So Lombardi is 10 minutes early. I promise you, Dom, I promise you, in the next 6-7 years, not a single player was ever late, because quite simply, it was their team rules, governed by me, pushed by me, delivered by me, the leader, but they had all been part of it. We weren't telling them. If I stood in front of them and said, right, 10 minutes early, they'd all go, well, let's start the meeting 10 minutes early. What are we doing this for? And we call it Lombardi time. And I challenge anybody listening, if you speak to any England rugby player who worked under me, just go Lombardi time and they'll go 10 minutes early. It becomes part of your culture, part of your, I call it teamship rule. And you can start off with some pretty simple things like timekeeping, like dress, like language. What I found with it, you can get into some really areas where I found people have a lot of problem in business and sports teams, like diversity, race, which is top of the agenda at the moment, inclusion, harassment. Get these on the table. Get your team to discuss them in an open forum. Listen to other people's views. I mean, the diversity inclusion agenda is huge and so important. Unconscious bias. And I'm always learning. I think, I like to think I'm ahead of this in terms of where I'm at to, but I see stuff that's sent to me. I go, I did not know that. I did not know that could be interpreted this way. But get it into the table, get your team to discuss it, create teamship rules, and then you can start to become a high-performing team and create winning cultures. And today, with what's going on with coronavirus, we're going to have really amazing teamship rules when everyone starts to drift back to work in terms of what you can do, what you can't do. I'd just rather get people involved in those decisions as opposed to being told what to do.
Yeah.
So it's just, to me, a modern leadership way. And I've done this in my small business, in my rugby teams, the Olympic teams. I've seen it work every single time, because you're totally disarming people, because you've had your say, you've agreed to this, so now we're going to deliver it and we're going to work on it. And it just creates this opportunity for people to really work well when things are going well, but most importantly, really understand how to work when things are not going so well, where you need help and support from everybody. And that's how we kind of run the whole program.
I gather now with a very full household in lockdown, you're applying teamship at home well now. How's
Yeah,
that work?
we did it. We've got 8 people in our house, including one little grandchild called Zeffie. So we've got 3 kids there with their various husbands and partners. So when we first all came together, whenever it was now, middle of March, whenever they all came home in lockdown, we have all my kind of family secrets now. We have a flip chart. And every time I have any issues with the kids, I get the flip chart out. Okay, let's just write this down on the flip chart. We call it a flip chart moment. And you know you're in trouble when your kids come to you and go, look, get the flip chart out. We need a flip chart moment here because whatever. So we've got the flip chart out from the kind of attic. We've got the flip chart out. And we started to just write down teamship rules. And it was brilliant. I mean, it's just some of the simple stuff. You know, we are certainly one of the major sponsors of Amazon. I've never seen so many Amazon parcels delivered to anyone's house in one day. We are like the post office. So, but we had these rules that the parcels mustn't come to the front door. The front door was bolted, but we can't use the front door. They've got to go to the back door. When you go to the front, that door, you got to turn left. Because when you turn left, you go to a utility room. There's a sink. You've got to wipe the parcels down. You've got to wash your hands. Then you can bring them in. So even in that, the teamship rules was right. No one can use the front door, and we call that front door. When the other one we call turn left. So the moment you go in the house, you must turn left. Even if you've got no parcels, and wash your hands and wipe them down. And you bring them in, etc., etc. We just started creating a whole bunch of teamship rules, and they kind of worked. And it was really kind of fascinating. And the kids were all laughing because, you know, Jane, their mum, she said, we should put this in 25 years ago because this is kind of quite a cool way of actually running these programs.
Getting stuff done.
Getting stuff done on the teamship side of things. But it kind of works. It's fun. But you're just getting them to agree everything, and then you are accountable. And I find people, if they're involved in decisions, will deliver. I mean, I'm probably one of the worst people at being told what to do. I don't like being told what to do. If I'm involved in the decision and I agree, I'll think I'm a total team player and I'll deliver. But it's just a fine line between being told and being included in the thought process.
Thanks, Clive, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.